as you just mentioned, I am here with Perks after that win, but that 1-1. And you were just talking to me before we went live, Perks, and saying you're not feeling so good. So can you explain that?
I mean, we are supposed to be the best team in Europe, and our practice has been going pretty well. And then when we perform so bad, like we did in game 1, really misplaced by me and other individual misplays, getting caught all the time. It felt like we had, I don't know, zero game plan. We were split all the time and getting picked off. So I'm kind of sad with that performance from myself and the team. But also then in game 2, we show if we don't screw early game, then we are going to take every objective and just snowball throughout the game and take a clean win. So.
Yeah. Well, second game was like a lot better though. So what did you change between game 1 and game 2? Did you just like, what do you need to say to your teammates? Was it something from your coach? What did you change?
Honestly, game 1 is just a warm up. Like I sucked and a lot of people sucked and I was getting caught and I don't know, I just played bad. So I think big parties and me getting caught in game 1 a lot of times, and then we changed our draft a bit. Even though I don't think draft was problem in game 1, I think we had a good draft. We just lacked some damage in late game, but because we fucked up like in early game. So game 2, we went for picks. We practiced in scrims more. We banned the Jax, which we were completely surprised with. We banned the Brown, which is their best support, and we took away Jin, so they can't really play the game. And we just snowballed from that, yeah.
It was snowballing from that, but you're also talking about the draft as well, and in game 1 you picked up the Nunu, which we haven't really seen before, so was that just something you were practicing in scrims and wanted to bust out, or what was the reason for that?
I don't know what was exactly the reason for that. We played Nunu with Scrim. It was good, yeah. I think we could have gotten like Nash 2 times, but it's okay. Trick felt really sore after the game, but we just cheered him up, and our setup was bad too, so it wasn't like only his fault. And game 2, I played Vladimir, which is a champ you cannot die with, luckily for me. So I didn't die, or I died once. But game 1 I was really not aware of ganks and just died to the Gene Elise and stuff.
Yeah, it was actually crazy game 2. You just like didn't die as Vlad like multiple times, like 4 guys, and he was absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Just one final question here, Perks. Seems like the league is just in turmoil right now. Seems like everyone's beating everyone, and we just saw it just then with the 1-1 against Giants. So what's your opinion on like kind of the league in general and how everyone's beating everyone?
I don't know actually, because I don't know if LCS is really bad or really good, because every team is winning versus everyone, and I think that needs to change. There needs to be like a complete standings in the league. Like there needs to be top team, top 2 teams, top 3 teams, and playoff contenders teams, and that should be, I think, done in the next 2-3 weeks. Like you will see obviously who is better than someone, and I expect us to perform better and more consistent, because the games we lose, we just lose something, we screw up something in early game, and then we are like lost. But every time, if you get a small advantage early game, there is no way to lose the game. So,
pretty interesting insight there. Thank you very much for the interview, Perks, and congratulations, and at least the 1-1. We're going to send it back over to the caster desk to take a look at player of the game to close out the series.
Thank you very much, Pulse. Insightful stuff there, really. Perks, I mean, G2, they know what they need to work on.
Yeah, Perks also says it. It's like, oh, we get caught early game with one thing, and then it kind of gets out of control.
Seems like we do hear this a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he's the difficult thing to fix there is like it's not a well, just don't get caught thing. It's like, well, if you get caught, how do we react from that? Yeah. And that is the back and forth on a lot of teams, and why we're seeing a lot of the advent of sports psychologists, that kind of thing of like how to hold mentality throughout a game is a big factor in those kind of things.
Yeah, that's true. But in a game like as crazy as this whole series was, in all honesty, I mean, it's kind of hard to keep composure. Let's take a look back at a couple of moments in this game. One of the bones that stands out in my mind is Rift Herald steal.
Yep.
Trick just walks in. It's not the only time he does that kind of thing, by the way. And meanwhile, the rest of G2 are just having a fantastic time as Sanstar desperately tries to get away.
It felt like Mithy was Perk's support for most of this game, with the lanterns that were coming out.
Yeah, except the one he got denied.
Yeah, the one that got blocked.
Second, yeah,
it was okay.
That was a really interesting moment for sure.
But that Rift Herald didn't exactly. It wasn't like a winning moment for G2.
I mean,
like,
Smitty
hey,
really wanted that though.
Right,
I think that would have helped Giants quite a lot early game.
They take it away from the split pusher. It wasn't the moment that won them the game, but there were a lot of different fights and different setups that contributed to an overall win. Like the 4-for-2 in the middle lane was another one of those where Sven gets like a quadra kill from it. These moments are the kind of ones. This was actually a slightly different replay, I believe. Sven gets the quadra a little later, but still, this was another kill setup for G2 that puts the game in their favor. This is the one early on where, again, Knight was pushed up and ends up kind of trying to catch out Trick, but it doesn't result that way. Sunstar can't really deal with Perks, despite having a lot of damage, really, when you look at it. Perks takes pretty much half a channel of the culling.
Yeah, I mean, it's so deceptive on Vladimir anyways. It just was a really, really set of scattered fights, but that was a pretty big one.
That was a pretty good fight.
Yeah.
Sorry. I was wondering where the camera was coming from.
They're everywhere.
Speaking of angles, some quick geometry in that game when inside the cone for Sven. Puts him as his player of the game. I'm stealing it.
No, I mean, that was great, actually. I was wondering where you were going with it, but you let it right in. Yeah, Sven had a pretty fantastic game, I think is probably the least way to say it.
Yeah, well, 15 kills is the most for a single player in this split so far.
And heroes never die, but if that's the case, Sven was about 99% a hero this game. He really stepped it up, and this chase really proves why. This is the quadra you were talking about.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, the deadly flourish, and that is why you take Deathfire Touch.
Boom. Got him. Quadra kill. Easy peasy. Good setup. Like Sven, that's what we're waiting for from Sven. Like the Lucian game was a little underwhelming because he couldn't move into range to deal damage, but this time he's playing Jhin. He can just sit as far back as he wants.
Yeah, you don't really need range. You don't need to get into range because you're always in range when you're Jhin, so it was nice. A little PSA for you guys, by the way, wondering for the end of the day PGL. Maxlore, Giants jungler, will be joining us for that one, so don't forget to stick around and hear what he has to say. I actually really, really want to know what he thinks about Giants now.
Yeah, looking forward to it. I believe I'm also going to be joining the post-game lobby, so I'll be able to have a bit of a reunion.
I won't, so you'll get to hear him.
UK scene hype for Max Law. Known him for a very long time playing out of the UK, so excited to hear what he's got to say.
How is it to see him really stepping up in the LCS, actually, just out of curiosity?
It's really nice. Like, it's good to see a player that you've seen before kind of come in and not only just kind of be in the LCS, but his team stepping up around him as well. So Giants are looking really good. Really happy that they're on form.
There's a lot to say good things about Giants. Obviously not perfect, but they have quite a lot going for them. For now, though, that's all for us in the EU LCS studio. We're going to go ahead and send it over to the arena and see what's going on over there.